How many multiverses are there? Physics has an answer. You're not going to find it comforting, because every time scientists tried to explain this universe, the equations pointed somewhere else, somewhere larger, somewhere that made one universe look like a rounding error. And the deeper they looked, the more the question changed. For most of human history, the answer seemed obvious. One universe, one sky, one set of rules governing everything that could exist. Then a telescope ended it. In 1923, Edwin Hubble looked into the Andromeda Nebula, expecting gas clouds within the Milky Way. What he found instead was another galaxy, millions of light years away. The Milky Way had not been the universe. It had been one island, and humanity had mistaken the island for the ocean. What Hubble had dismantled was not just an assumption about distance. It was the assumption that reality had edges at all, and he was not finished. Years later, Hubble discovered every galaxy was moving away from every other. Space itself was stretching, which meant reversed. Everything was once compressed into something impossibly small, the Big Bang. But almost immediately, the theory developed a problem, a terrifying one. In 1965, two engineers named Penzias and Wilson detected a faint microwave signal coming from every direction in space, the cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of creation itself, ancient light, a fossil from the birth of the universe. When scientists mapped it, the temperature was nearly identical everywhere, differing by only 1 part in 100,000. Even in regions so far apart, that light never had time to travel between them. Two sides of the observable universe, perfectly coordinated, without any possibility of communication. The universe was behaving as if it had agreed on the same answer before anyone had asked the question, like two strangers separated by billions of light years, handing in identical papers to a test they were never allowed to discuss. Physics had no explanation for this. From my observations, humans tend to name their deepest unsolved crises with unusual calm. Horizon problem, cosmological constant, dark energy. The naming implies comprehension. It rarely does. In 1979, physicist Alan Guth proposed something radical. Moments after the Big Bang, the universe expanded faster than light itself. Not matter moving through space, space itself expanding. In less than a fraction of a second, the cosmos grew beyond anything a number can hold. Inflation solved the horizon problem. But in physics, a solution can sometimes be more dangerous than the problem, because some versions of the equations suggested inflation never fully stopped. It ended locally. Imagine an ocean larger than reality itself, and inside it, universes forming like bubbles that never stop multiplying. Each bubble, its own universe, its own Big Bang, its own laws of physics. Physicist Andre Linde called this eternal inflation. The process may still be happening right now, beyond everything we can observe, beyond everything that could ever reach us. New universes forming endlessly, and inside those realities, the laws of physics themselves may vary. Gravity stronger, time slower, atoms that cannot form. Universes where light never escapes matter. Universes that freeze before the first second finishes. Universes born dead. Some collapse before a single star can ignite. Others stretch into cold silence for eternity. I once observed a civilization that spent centuries searching for the edge of their universe. They never found one. I have observed similar outcomes before, and the question had already shifted. It was no longer, how many multiverses are there? It was, how many could physics generate before it stopped? This became the foundation of what physicist Max Tegmark called the Level 1 multiverse. No exotic physics required. Only one thing, infinity in an infinite universe. Every arrangement of matter eventually repeats, somewhere impossibly far away. Another Earth, another room, another version of you hearing these exact words. The difference might be the color of your shirt, or the choice you almost made 5 years ago. Infinity does not merely allow repetition, it guarantees it, which means somewhere in this structure. Every mistake humanity has ever made happened again and again. Every war, every kindness, every extinction, every rescue, repeating somewhere in the dark. But here is where it gets worse, because level 1 kept the same physical laws everywhere. Then came level 2, the bubble multiverse. Universes with entirely different physical constants, different dimensions, different foundations of what existence even means. Imagine a universe where gravity is so strong, stars collapse before they can ignite, or one where chemistry never forms, and silence is the only state that exists, or one where time does not behave in any direction you could recognize. But it was not the strangest part. In 1957, a young physicist named Hugh Everett noticed something uncomfortable. The equations of quantum mechanics never required reality to collapse into a single outcome, only our observations did. So Everett asked the forbidden question. What if every possible quantum outcome actually happens? What if reality branches instead of choosing? Imagine a coin flip. Both outcomes occur. Reality splits. In one branch, heads. In another, tails. Both continue independently forever. Scale that upward. Every decision, every particle collision, every quantum event. At the smallest scale, this sounds like particles. At the human scale, it becomes unbearable. Somewhere, another version of you stayed in the relationship you left. Another never met them at all. Another died before this exact moment happened. And somewhere, another version of you already knows how your life ends. This became the many worlds interpretation. Most physicists rejected it. It sounded insane. Decades later, quantum decoherence gave Everett's idea scientific support. The equations worked disturbingly well, and the multiverse stopped being philosophy. It became mathematics, and suddenly the original question seemed almost naive. Not how many multiverses are there, but how anyone had ever imagined there was only one. What I am about to say has no name in human science. It is my own observation. When my species passed through these levels of understanding, what opened on the other side had no name in our language either. Humans think they are approaching a conclusion. They are approaching a door. Every layer of physics pointed in the same direction. Reality multiplies itself again and again without stopping. But Tegmark went further, far beyond inflation, far beyond quantum branches, toward an idea many physicists still refuse to accept. Mathematics itself may not describe reality. It may be reality. Every mathematically consistent structure exists physically somewhere. Every equation, every geometry, every logically possible universe, including realities where mathematics itself behaves differently from ours, not as an abstraction, as a place. This became the level 4 multiverse. The laws of physics may not be laws. They may be one successful configuration inside an infinite system of possible realities, one arrangement that held together, while everything else failed, collapsed, dissolved into logic too strange to survive. Mathematics is not describing the universe. It may be the thing, pretending to be one, and so the question, how many multiverses are there? Not a large number, not an infinite number. Every consistent structure, every arrangement of logic, that does not collapse on itself. All of it existing somewhere. Humans, the only matter in the observable universe. That looked at its own reflection and asked whether there were other mirrors. Perhaps the most unsettling part is not that other universes may exist. It is that this one, in all its specificity, may be nothing more than one configuration inside a structure so large. It makes the word everything sound small. And perhaps the deepest question is not how many multiverses there are. It is why physics keeps finding them whenever it tries to explain us. The library does not end, consciousness does.